Hey there, I'm Maggie,
And I'm Kate.
and this is our show, Honestly Though, with Maggie and Kate.
You're listening to season 1, where we're having more of the honest conversations that you won't find in corporate American settings or among polite company.
Every Wednesday for the next 10 weeks, we'll talk openly about common experiences that affect people at work and in life, but aren't usually talked about in business as usual environments.
You won't find a highly polished show in season 1, but we can promise that you're getting the raw and honest perspective of two solopreneurs who outgrew the status quo and are committed to thriving in this next season.
And the most important part is we're not really interested in talking at you. We want to talk with you. So you can join the conversation in the comments or send us a conversation starter for a future episode. And you can find all the ways to get involved in the show notes.
All right, let's get to it. I am super excited. We are talking about hustle culture today.
Yeah. I feel like I have too much to say, so I'm not excited. I have a weird energy this morning. So
Yeah.
prepare for whatever that means. But yeah, this is like the topic I've been pushing because it's my whole personality at the moment.
This
Yeah.
one's really interesting for me because I feel like I've circled around it my whole career. It's and actually my whole life too. Like I grew up in Chicago. We hustle here. I remember when the first time I left Chicago and moved somewhere else, we moved to North Carolina. And the pace of living there is just like so much slower. Like you go through a drive-through and like people aren't like, hurry up, give me my food. It's just like calmer and chiller and everybody takes their time and whatever. And like that was really different to me. And so, yeah, I don't know. Hustle culture has been a big one for a lot of different reasons. I feel like I hustle a lot and I'd like to slow down my life, but I have a really hard time doing that.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring up moving to North Carolina because that reminded me. So I grew up mostly outside of Philadelphia, and then in high school I moved to rural Virginia, and it
Okay.
literally was like a culture shock for me. Like I
Mm.
I feel like that's such a dramatic thing to say because it was like it's not that far, but the
Yeah.
culture it was like you're saying it's so different, and I was
Yeah.
so used to like city hustle bustle, and there's buses and trains and like people
Yeah.
everywhere. And then I moved to the little peninsula of Virginia where literally everything was at least half an hour away. Like even going to the grocery store was a good 20-minute. Like everything was just so spaced out and slow.
Mhm.
And my dad and I both didn't drive, so it was like everything was
Yeah.
like our whole pace of life was slower because we have to rely on other people and be resourceful. And so you saying all that, I'm like, okay, so how is that input like now, or I'm like decades later, I feel like that blend has caused a lot of the dissonance in me, which I will get more into my cognitive dissonance later, but
Yeah.
I literally had not registered how that high school move hit my brain until you just said that. So,
Yeah, I think it's just like
wow.
this whole conversation starting it this way with like more, personal hustle and like cultural hustle just like shows how much hustle is baked into American culture at large. And so of course we see it showing up in corporate. And so I actually had to like look up what hustle culture actually means because to me it's like there's so much hustle everywhere in every aspect of life. And so let's switch into like the corporate context of burnout
Yeah, yeah.
of hustle culture. I exchanged the words hustle and burnout, which I think is like a Freudian slip there.
I mean,
But yeah, so it's all about working more and more and more hours, getting more and more and more done. And so yeah, I'm curious, is that something like how did you experience that? Were you salaried when you were in corporate? Were you hourly? I feel like because I feel like the hourly piece changes it a bit. Like for me, I was salaried and you know, you're working 40 hours a week, but like no, I wasn't. I was working much more than that. But I wasn't getting paid for it, but that was part of the gig. And oh, I got so much flexibility because I'm salaried or whatever, but like no, I didn't. So anyway, curious how that shows up for you.
yeah. I mean, I'll say to like bridge that all, I do think that all of the hustle mindset and the burnout stuff did start for me before I ever had a job. I feel like school trains us
Mhm.
to be ready to be used and abused in the corporate America space or just any workspace. Because even out of college, I didn't go to corporate right away. I was in hospitality for a while, and even then, you're working 12-hour shifts doing events on your feet. Sometimes it's a morning shift, sometimes it's a night shift, so you're not even consistent and like so
Mhm.
I've been burned out, I think, my entire life. But it also is like a slippery slope between like I was kind of a depressed kid. So was I just depressed or was I burned out and thought I was depressed
Sure.
or vice versa? Like there's a lot of I don't know because I'm not qualified to decide. But in corporate, I started out hourly. So for most of my corporate career I was hourly. But I was, like, yearning to be salaried. Like, when I finally did become salaried, it's because I begged my boss to,
Mhm.
like, make the switch.
Mm.
And I just for those who don't know, it's not actually up to the company if you are hourly or salaried. It's, like, the law. Like, there's a law that determines whether your job is in this bucket or that bucket. And my payroll job is the one that I argued that I was like, "I think I'm in this other bucket. I think you guys are putting me in this bucket," but my responsibilities had been going up and up and up to the point that I was like, "I think we could legally justify the switch."
Uh-huh.
And so that was a very interesting conversation, but I won. I won. I got what I wanted. My
Uh-huh.
boss honestly wanted the same thing. It was HR that was trying to push back for my sake looking back. They were
Mhm.
definitely like, "Are you sure?"
Uh-huh.
Because they even told me, "You're not gonna get a raise. Like, if you decide to go salaried, you're literally just sacrificing your overtime." But I was so desperate for that flexibility and the autonomy to, like, take breaks and do things, and, like, if it's noon and I'm over it and I don't have any meetings, I wanna be able to log off and then I'll work Saturday or something. Like,
Uh-huh.
I've always been a workaholic, so it's not hard for me to, like I don't mind working every single day, I just don't wanna work 12 hours every single day. Like, I like to have balance in my days, not in my weeks.
Mhm.
So I pushed hard for it, I became salaried. They definitely took advantage of that. I
Mhm.
think I became salaried around, like, October, and, like, I quit for 3 months later, like, something, like, I didn't even make it a year being salaried before I was like, "Oh, I'm working 60-hour weeks during Christmas? Go fuck yourself." Like, and you guys don't even care. Like,
Uh-huh. Mhm.
oh, it was just yeah. So, that was me. I think I've saw both sides, and I still to this day, I don't know what I would prefer. Like, when I was hourly, I was more eager to work more because I was like, "Ooh, money, overtime," and so I was working a lot.
Uh-huh.
But then still salaried, I was like you're saying, you don't really get the flexibility that they dangle in front of you. Like,
Yeah.
I'd watch all the CFOs and the directors and stuff take their random trips and come in at 11 a.m. and do whatever, but
Mhm.
the rules don't apply to me because I'm the lowest ladder of or whatever, the lowest of rung on the ladder. So,
Did you ever
yeah.
that's reminding me of, what is it called? Unlimited paid time off policies, where did you ever
Hmm.
work where you had one of those?
No, thankfully, but ironically, after I left my company, they changed within a year to unlimited PTO. And I
Uh-huh.
knew that was coming too. Like the company I was with, we had a lot of turnover in our C-suite when I was there. I might have mentioned this before on an episode, but we had a lot of turnover, and our new CEO really did not like to deal with me in payroll because I had a lot of things that I needed his approval on, and he was always like, "I don't want to fucking do this." So we had a lot of tension between us, me and the CEO. And so when I heard that they eventually went to unlimited PTO, I was like, that makes sense because that was the reason he hated me is because I constantly was having to get him to approve people's time off who didn't have a bank
Yep.
of paid time off. They were like
Same.
already in the negative and then they took a week off and I'm like, are you cool with that like tax like payroll liability? Like there's we're just giving out money.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so it was like a whole thing, but I have not, and anyone listening to this, I think unlimited PTO is a scam. I do not think it is a benefit to you. At least in Colorado, they're legally supposed to pay out your PTO bank, so when you have unlimited PTO, you don't get that when you leave, and that was part of my saving grace when I quit. I was like, I get my final check and I'll get my PTO paid out, and
Mhm.
that will keep me afloat for a little bit.
Yeah.
That
I
wouldn't happen now, which is crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this could just be my perception or maybe not, but I think unlimited PTO started becoming like more mainstream in the mid 2010s. And when that happened, I was at a company that decided to adopt unlimited PTO. And that company was already like a total dumpster fire in terms of work life balance. They were like hustle culture to the max, was like, not just get your work done, but like get your work done so that you can take on more and do more and
Yeah.
more and more. And then when they implemented this unlimited PTO, it was not only do you lose exactly what you just said, the ability to get your PTO bank paid out, which I had in previous jobs, and had allowed me to take time off in between jobs, which was always nice.
Yeah.
But it was it was also, like, it was just so hard to convince myself that I was worthy of taking time off because my workload was so high, and I didn't have, like, a bank of hours to go tap into to, like, tell myself, "Yes, you're supposed to whatever." And I worked at other companies that had unlimited PTO, but in those companies, it was managed a bit better in terms of the managers actually made sure that everyone took, I think it was, like, a goal of it was either 2 or 3 weeks, but, like, your manager was on the hook for helping make sure that you didn't
Mm.
do what I had done in these other companies, and was like, "No, you actually need to take at least 2 or 3 weeks." And so that was helpful. So I think there's ways to make it work, I guess, but, I don't know, I think unlimited PTO is totally a scam too. I think it's very beneficial to anyone and everyone who loves hustle culture, for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely beneficial to the company. And you talking about the way it, like, changed, I didn't realize it was that early on. Like, in my brain, it's, like, been a COVID just changed the world, and in my head, that was, like, the
Mhm,
turning point for a lot of these things, but that also might just be I was entering the corporate space right around COVID, so I might just not have been privy to it.
mhm,
Um but it reminds me of, like, I recently was I like to start debates on threads, so I recently was like, "Why did corporate America switch from pensions to the 401k?" Like, I understand why, because of the corporate greed and all the things, but, like, all it just goes back to, like, I always think about how much we outnumber those in power, and it's like,
mhm.
why do we let this and I
Yeah,
get it, I'm part of the system, I'm letting it happen too, but, like, I wasn't an adult when that happened, so why did we let that happen? And I was, like, getting all the just responses of, like, most people are like, "Yeah, corporate greed, what do you mean?" Obviously, and then there's, like, the handful of people who are just, like, bootlicking hard and drinking the Kool-Aid, and they're like, "No, it's so much better because now you are in control," and it's like, "Yeah, but I'm not educated, so I don't know," like, if I don't know how to invest, so it doesn't benefit me to throw money into the like, it just doesn't
yeah,
help. So it
yeah,
reminds me of that, where it's like the switch to unlimited PTO, I feel like is another it's being presented as it's so good for you. Now you have power and freedom and flexibility, and it's meant to be like a better benefit, but it's truly not a benefit because
yeah,
when you look at the accounting sheets, they just got rid of that liability. They now have more revenue. Like
yeah,
you taking a week off doesn't it's not an extra week of pay or I don't know,
yeah,
it's annoying to me.
uh-huh, yeah.
It's
Okay,
not a
so
benefit anymore.
anything else we should talk about in like traditional workspace, like employee W-2 relationship, whatever, with relating to hustle culture before we move on to like current state as founders,
Mm.
how we're navigating hustle culture? What do you think?
I'm just looking at the notes we put. I will just quickly say too, because I am so anti-hustle now, I think it's important for people to know that I was the kind of person who used to volunteer to work on holidays and things like that because my self-worth was so tied up in my work that
Mm,
I knew that working on the holiday was going to make me look good, plus I get a bigger paycheck. Like I had zero thoughts about me and my energy and my life and my relationships and it was just how do I show up at work? That was like
yeah.
my entire identity was my job. So,
So it sounds like hustle culture for you was really like so far baked in that it was like intrinsic to how you showed up.
100%, yeah. It
Yeah.
literally, like until I left corporate last year and started unpacking all of this,
Yeah.
I was so blind to the fact that I was so deeply entwined in all
Mm,
of it. Like, it just felt
right.
natural. And I
Interesting.
like, it goes back, like I said, from school, I was a straight A teacher's pet, so, like, I've always had that perfectionist driving me as well, and that makes
Yeah.
like, that translated perfectly into work life, corporate and non-corporate. Like, I'd
Yeah.
volunteer, I'd work extra events even before corporate. Like,
Yeah.
I only wanted to be working because then I didn't have to be thinking and feeling about everything else. Like, if I didn't allow myself to have those down moments to feel exhausted, then I just
Yeah.
never felt exhausted. I just kept going.
Yeah.
And, then it's easier to when you're like college and younger. It made sense that on then Saturday I would just sleep all day and then hang out and do nothing. Like, it didn't feel like, oh, I'm burned out. It felt like this is
Uh-huh.
my day off.
Yeah.
It was more normalized then, and now that I've, like, stepped back and I can reflect on it all, I'm like, "That's so sad."
Mm,
Like
mhm.
like, I wasted my youth working, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting. So for me, I'm like kind of the opposite. So I'm a really fast processor and I'm a really fast worker. So I've always just been fast, but I wasn't trying to be fast. I wasn't trying to hustle. And I would get mad when people were trying to no one ever tried to make me go faster because I'm fast. But I would get mad when it was like, okay, but now you're going to do more. Like I was one of those like type
Yeah.
A high achievers doing all of the things and was happy to take on more responsibilities when it was, you know, within scope and when it was going to help my career and it was when something I was really interested in or something I'd never done before so I would learn a new skill or whatever, but any time where I felt like my reward for doing good work very efficiently and quickly was just more busy work, more grunt work, more like, why are you even making me do this? This is like totally not strategic. This is just like something some like executive decided was important, but like we haven't even thought it through. Why are we doing this? I would get really, really, really angry. And I wonder if part of that not always. I mean, especially when like the first like 3 or 4 years of my career wasn't so much like that, but I wonder if it was like when I had kids, when I had a family, if it just like became because it was like encroaching on that time, and so everything I
Mhm.
was being asked to do felt like I was being asked to take a step away from my family again, even more so
Yeah.
than I already was as a it was it was wonderful. My husband is a much more he's just, a very nurturing, patient, loving father, and it was wonderful that he was a stay-at-home parent with our kids, but it was also really challenging a lot too, um, especially, like, with a lot of my mom friends and peers that were moms and stuff, just feeling like wow, I'm missing out on so much time with my kids because of this career I'm having. And so I wonder if it was like mom guilt or something because
Mhm.
I'm super ambitious. I work really hard. I enjoy hard work and I'm very fast and efficient and have been hustling since I was a kid. But I just would get so angry when, especially after I had kids. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm curious mostly about, like, their recognition, like, process. Like, were you basically given a bunch of work and then, like, cool, or, like, how well were you rewarded and recognized for going above and beyond,
Yeah,
if at all?
I think early in my career, I was rewarded a lot. Like it was still in the time where like I would get bonuses and whatever. And I went from coordinator level to associate director level in I think 9 years or something. And so I moved up really quickly. It wasn't just like, here, keep your same title and just like do all this more work. It was never like that. But I also job hopped a lot to help
Yeah.
get up there too. But yeah, no, I feel like especially in the early days I was rewarded well, but then like in the like right around the mid 2010s and then certainly with COVID, it was like I didn't get a bonus anymore ever. It didn't matter
Hmm.
how good I was doing. It didn't matter anything. It was like companies were just like tightening their belts, stopped getting merit increases, stopped getting recognition, started becoming like nice words, more work, and maybe a title bump with like a no actual increase in pay, or certainly not one that kept up with inflation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just curious because I like listening to all that. I'm like, I think for me, when I really started to like question my workaholic tendencies and start to be like, am I burning out? Like, what is going on? Because I definitely like floated through that thought process many years before I actually like quit corporate and all that. Like, it kept coming
Mhm.
up from like, am I doing too much? Or like, what can I like, because I'm a goal setter, I've always been. But I think where it started to like really hit me is when I started to feel like I was going above and beyond and then being a little bit gaslit about it, or like it wasn't even that I wasn't being recognized. It'd be like when I'd bring up everything that I had done, it was like diminished in some way. And it
Mm.
was like I remember my first corporate job, I left that company because when we got our bonuses, my bonus was so much smaller than it should have been. And I
Mhm.
called HR basically like, "Hey, I'm not normally like this, but like what's going on?
Mhm.
Because I know what everybody else got and I'm really confused."
Mhm.
And they told me, "Oh, well those big bonuses are for like leads and the people who come in on weekends and like blah blah blah." And I was like, "So I do all of that." Like,
Yeah.
literally, I was like, "You're literally describing me and still telling me that I can't have what everyone else isn't like, that's such
Yeah.
bullshit." And it was
Yeah.
literally just because I technically was not a lead, like, that was literally it, but I was coming in on the weekends and helping the leads, I was doing all like, I literally was a lead without the title,
Yeah.
and it was when they brought up the weekend thing that I was like, "So me, right?" Because I'm one of 3 fucking people in this building on a Saturday, like, I'm
Yeah.
so confused, and
Mhm.
I feel like that was the beginning where I was like, "Oh, okay, they're not even acknowledging, like, why am I doing all of this if they don't even have it in their head that I'm one of these people? That's
Mhm.
crazy."
Mhm.
And the teacher pet in me was especially like, "What? I'm
Mhm.
used to being the like, what do you mean? I'm the one who's called upon. I am like, I'm
Mhm.
in their head. I'm the one. Like, I'm
Mhm.
the best. Like, this is
Mhm.
so crazy." Back to our competition episode, like, I'm literally the best, and I know I am because I work to be.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's, like, the biggest part of my corporate burnout, and, like, I hustled so hard only to be like, "Cool, you did the bare minimum," and it's like, "What the fuck?"
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
"No, I
No,
didn't," and,
I
like,
would
I hate when I feel like people don't see how hard I'm working. That's
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
think I really could work super duper hard and still be a workaholic, and I say all the time, if when I quit my job, if they had even bumped me up to 60K, I probably would have stayed because I was that in it. Like, I really was so desperate to just have some kind of recognition that, like,
Mhm.
they could have kept me for 5 extra $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't
Start
happen,
seeing it.
but
Yeah.
I was just
So
so
do you
desperate to be recognized.
Yeah, okay, so as a burnout coach then I'm curious, like, when in your conversations with others or when you're thinking about and talking to other people, do you think? Because 'cause I'm hearing both of us kinda talk about this, like, recognition or, I don't know, like, reward piece. Does hustle culture actually come from hustle, 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 go, go, go? Or does it come from feeling like
Mm,
that's not reciprocated and rewarded by companies? Like, what is it? Is it actually like people are burning themselves out because they're full steam ahead on the pedal every single day? Or is it that no one's just appreciating their effort? Or is it both?
I
Probably
mean, I
both.
do think it's a lot, like, it's all intertwined, but I think if I had to really oversimplify it, I mean, this is a totally third I'm gonna curveball at you. I think it's mostly survival. I think most of us are taught that we have to work very hard to get a good job, otherwise we're gonna be homeless, like,
Mhm.
there's,
Yeah.
like you
Uh-huh.
don't wanna if you're the bad kid in school, they're always like, "Well, you're gonna fucking flip burgers," like, it's always, like, threatening you with this, like, non-luxurious life as if any of us are gonna have super luxurious lives, like but
Mhm.
again, like, they dangle that carrot, and so I think in a way it's like survival where because most people I talk to that hate their jobs and are burned out, whatever, they genuinely cannot afford to quit and take time off and try to recuperate. And they can't
Mhm.
afford to like take a pay cut and go somewhere else. Or at least, that's in their head. So I know survival drives a lot of it, and at
Mhm.
least in America. I know we are very because we're tied, like we were talking about with benefits. Like I don't even have healthcare right now because I don't have a corporate job, and
Mhm.
me and Neil aren't married, so I'm not on his health insurance. Like I'm, you know,
Yeah.
things like that. So if
Yeah,
I had a chronic illness or anything like that, I wouldn't have been able to quit my job because I would have needed my insurance.
sure.
So
Yeah,
there's like
yeah.
that's definitely a huge piece in my brain. It's the survival. But then even if you are, say, well off enough that you don't need to survive, then it's probably like your upbringing. Like you were raised in a family that hustled and
Mhm,
is
mhm,
successful. So you can't just ride that wave. You have to
mhm,
also continue and fit into that.
mhm.
So I kind of feel like whether you are raised rich and privileged or like poor and whatever, like there's still that it just gets ingrained in you early. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a survival mechanism, whether
Yeah.
it's real survival or perceived survival, social status survival, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like this is not only the expectation, but this is what's required. And so yeah, I don't know. I
And
think
I
that's
think it gets translated as like go, 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 like hurry up and do everything because by the time like it's just so hard because I'm like now in my 30s, it's hard for me to think back to like when I was 8. Like when did this really start to hit me? And it's like, I don't know, because I really feel like I've just always I like you bring up like this social thing too, because I feel
yeah,
like little kid, like I'm outside playing sports with the neighbors and stuff because I want to have friends. And like, was I tired? Did I want to play sports? Like, I don't remember every day. I'm sure there were days that I was like, can't we just watch a movie? But
uh-huh,
like, I don't know. And it's hard to translate it back into like non, like, because I know it stems from earlier, even if it translates differently in corporate.
yeah,
But I don't know.
yeah.
I think it's very
So,
gray. There's a lot into it.
are you hustling right now as a founder?
As a founder, so this is what I was talking about my cognitive dissonance. I feel like it really depends on the I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no overall. I don't think I am hustling right now. I think I'm
Mhm,
pretty aware of my energy and stuff, but there are days where I wake up and I do feel really gung ho and I have a lot of ideas and I'm focused and I will hustle by my standards.
uh-huh,
But I don't feel like like, doing myself a disservice because that's where my energy wanted to go. Like, that's something I preach a lot is, like, trying to force your energy to go somewhere it doesn't want to go is just
yeah,
for me, at least, I never get shit done. Those are the days where I'm like, "I really have to write this blog post," and then I sit here for 4 hours, and I can't think of anything to write about, or I hate everything I'm saying, and, like, nothing feels good, and then I wasted the whole day when I
uh-huh,
could have just took a walk or like if what I really wanted to do was read my book, I should have just done that. And this like as a solopreneur, there are no true deadlines. Everything is up to me unless I have a client call or like a podcast recording or like something that's like with someone else.
yeah,
So I'm really flexible with myself on my own deadlines.
uh-huh,
But I definitely always every week I do like a reflection on everything I've done, like how much time I spent on things, and I always do more than I think I did. So
yeah,
I still see the hustle coming out even when I think that I've
yeah.
been really good this week at balancing. It's like, "Oh no, you still did a lot."
Yeah, that's super interesting because I'm thinking about that a lot too. I'm in this like weird place where I'm coming up or I'm in an anniversary period. Like last year, May to September, I was hustling every moment. I was every minute. It didn't necessarily look or feel like hustling from the outside, I guess, but to me, I was writing, thinking, having, I think I had like, I don't remember what the exact number is now, but it was like an obscene amount of coffee chats last summer. It was like 40 a month. It was crazy.
That's
And
crazy.
it was a lot. Like I was go, 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 go. And I remember in the spring saying to one of my closest coworkers at the time, I need to like take the summer off. It was my kids. My kids were having summer break from school. My husband was working. He had always homeschooled them, like, and this was their first year in public school. So this was their first summer break. And I was the parent that was home. Like my work was in the home and I was freelancing and working for myself. And I was like, this is the summer where I'm going to spend time with the kids. I'm going to explore the Pacific Northwest. I'm not going to do that. And I ended up hustling away the entire summer. They spent most of the summer, well, thankfully our apartment complex had a pool. So we went to the pool a lot and they got to sit at the pool. And while they were sitting at the pool, I was on my laptop doing a million things. Um, but so comparing this summer to last summer, I am like, I was saying the same things this spring this summer I need to take a break. I need to be there with my kids. I need to go explore. I need to do all the things. And this summer I'm holding myself to that. Now it's interesting though, because at the same time, I do still feel myself hustling. I launched a
Yeah.
podcast this summer with you. That's fun. I don't
It's
necessarily
cool.
feel hustly though about it. Like we haven't really been like, that's, whatever.
I mean,
I
I
don't
do feel
know.
like you've been on it. Like, there are times, like, I was actually shocked this morning. I was, like, expecting to wake up and have a text from you, but you didn't text me until about 10 minutes after I woke up.
Yeah.
But I do feel like almost every day I'm like, "Oh, Kate texted me, like, 5 times. I gotta read that soon because she's doing stuff."
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm not throwing hustle on you, but I do think you're maybe not giving yourself enough credit for the amount of work you're putting into the podcast because you're
Yeah.
doing I for all those who don't know, I basically show up and I record, and then when Kate's done with everything, I watch the video and I say, "Hey, I like these clips," and then she clips them all, and then that's how we promote it with the clips, but she's doing all of the production, so, I mean, I think you're doing more than you think. It takes hours out of your life.
Sure.
At least this season 1 for sure, while we're trying to also get our, like, footing and figure out our, like, format and all the things, there's a lot that you're doing.
Well, thank you for
Yes.
recognizing. And also I'm writing a novel. I'm writing 50,000 words on my first draft of my manuscript. I'm at 13,000 words as of this morning. I got about 1,000 done so far today, which is great.
Nice.
And my kids and I are also walking all 124 miles of the trails in our county's forest preserve system this summer, and we just went camping for 7 days last week. So like, look, like
You're
I like
balancing
to
it.
say like I'm slowing down, I'm chill, I'm whatever, but like I too am doing a lot of things.
Yeah,
Except I think the difference between last summer and this summer and why it feels, even though I'm moving quickly and doing a lot of things, my energy is flowing in the places where I want it to go. I
yeah,
want to be writing a novel. I want to be recording these conversations and creating a podcast with you. I want to be spending time outside with my kids, and I can do all of those things at the same time. And I'm lucky to be able to do that. And so it feels like, yeah, I'm moving fast, but I'm moving fast for all the right reasons. And that makes a big difference.
yeah. No,
Mhm.
I definitely understand that, and, like, I think I think when people hear slowing down, their
Mhm.
mind goes to, like, doing nothing, and I really like, even hearing you, I'm like, "But you're doing, like, a balance of things." Like, to me, you're slowing down enough to check in and say, "I want to spend time with my kids, and I
Mhm.
want to do this today, and I want to do that today." I don't like I think if somebody sat down and, like, watched me for a week, they'd be like, "Maggie, you're still working a lot. What are you talking about?" But the difference
Mhm.
for me really is those, like, check-ins. Like, I used to
Yeah.
not stop to check in with myself ever.
Yeah.
I was just talking to somebody yesterday about, like, how often do you hear somebody talk about how they don't eat until dinner? Like,
Mhm.
I know so many millennials, me included, like, I don't get a hunger cue until about 2 p.m.
Yep.
If I eat in the morning, it's because I'm consciously like, "You should eat something," not because I
Yep.
feel like I need to. And but, like, having those check-ins with myself, I'm slowly getting my hunger cue like, my hunger cue used to not hit till 5 p.m., now it's at 2 p.m. Like, I'm getting better and I see the
Yeah.
progress, but if
Mhm.
you were to look at my daily day-to-day, you'd be like, "You're still hustling."
Yeah.
But I don't feel that way because I'm more in control and aware of what I'm spending my time and energy on,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the difference to me is like hearing you say that, I'm like, yeah, you're still doing a ton, but you're balancing your values. You're not just
Yeah.
working. You
Yeah.
are incorporating the other things that you enjoy, like being outside with your family, all the things.
And I'm not
So
doing it
that's
because
slow.
anybody thinks I should. Like, none of the things I'm doing are things I'm doing because someone thinks I should or society
Yeah.
thinks I should or whatever it is. They're literally things I wanna do. I think
Yeah.
that makes a big difference, and all of that to
That's
say,
literally it. Like
yeah,
figuring out what you want, even if you want 100 things, I don't feel like that's hustling because you are in alignment
yeah.
with your desires.
Now, I
Yeah, I
will
see
say
what
what
you're
a
saying.
privileged position, though, that I am in,
100%.
where my husband carries the health insurance and where I have the ability to do these things that a lot of people don't. So, I don't know. I think we need to think about as a society ways to make sure that all people have access to not burning out by having to hustle because of societal or corporate or whatever expectations, rules, norms, requirements in order to just do basic things like get healthcare. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I
Okay.
think too I have one last thought because I know we're at time. But I just looked at my notes and was like, oh, I didn't say that. But you saying that too, I feel like you are right now living a good example of having that balance where my note says that like I definitely I quit my job and I slowed down a lot and I felt like I went from hustling really, really hard to like I'm not gonna work, fuck everything. And
Yeah.
I feel like I slowed down too much. I felt like I was playing way too much. I was like resisting my work. And again, looking at like my time audit reflections every week, like that's not true, but that's how I felt was that like I swung way too far. So I'm now back trying to figure out what my happy medium is, where I still am pushing the pedal and getting things done for my business, but not to the detriment of my self care and like myself.
Yeah.
It's
That's awesome.
hard, and it's not overnight, and I just wanna throw that out there because I feel like if anybody else is in that space where they're, like, totally burned out and they're ready to try to recover,
Mhm.
it's normal and okay if you kind of swing completely, everybody's like, "Oh, nobody wants to work anymore." Yeah, we're burned out. We don't wanna work anymore. Like, you're right.
Yeah.
Eventually, we will find that happy medium, but, like, yeah, a lot of us don't wanna work right now. Like, if I wish I was rich enough that I could just take 2 years and go travel the world and literally not think about anything
Yeah.
except the world, like,
Yeah.
if I could get off social media, that'd be a treat,
Yeah.
but I cannot because I must market to my business, so
Yeah, the nobody wants to work anymore thing, I could go for a million years about that. I think,
we should do an episode on that.
we should. Okay, and I'll stop talking there. So, awesome.
Keep
Okay,
going
I
up.
love how we like did not hustle through the hustle episode, although I think we covered like a ton of ground, which is amazing.
Thanks for listening to Honestly, though, with Maggie and Kate. We're being so honest about the fact that we really want you to join the conversation.
Drop us a comment, email us a question, or submit a conversation starter for a future episode. You can find out how down in the show notes. See you next week.